Hello everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's video all about the KSR Ceres. I have a new setup now that I've been using more in these videos where I run the pedal, I hit the pedal with a looper and I play the riff through, and then I can be free to tweak the knobs. So in this case, I'm running the KSR Ceres into the front of the Marshall. After trying both, I decided that I'm going to do this. I may do a follow-up where I run it into the effects loop, which would be possible, but I will give my final impressions about what I think about this pedal, because while it is a cool pedal, I have some kind of a short cons list as well, and I'll share those impressions after you see all the demos. I do feel like it did sound really good. It's a very high-end piece. It's really well built, and big thank you to Gareth Porter for letting me borrow this. Thank you. Now the KSR Ceres preamp, as you saw in the video, is a really cool piece. It's really well built and it sounds quite good. It has a lot of usable sounds. It could function as ampless rig through a cab IR setup potentially. I think that might sound cool. Obviously I was using it in conjunction with my amp and that whole setup. The only real critique I had, because obviously it has a good gain channel, it has a functional clean channel. There's one thing I don't like is that you can't bypass it completely. So if you had it in your chain, you always are using the clean sound with the tone control, which is fine. That's pretty usable. I would like to be able to bypass it. I guess the way that they set it up, because it's a 3-channel amp, you really don't have a choice with 2-foot switches. But the biggest thing to me is there's all these extra toggle switches. And in hindsight, I think I vaguely remember Arnold Plays Guitar talking about this, is that most of even the bright switch didn't seem to add much brightness. And then the next 2 toggles over, they just didn't seem to change very much. I don't know if it's interactions between different knobs that's changing in the circuit. The only thing that really seemed to change a difference is the furthest most right toggle going all the way up kind of tightened it up a bit. And there's a little bit of a change. But most of those switch settings are so subtle, I think you could have just bypassed all of that. In fact, what I think would sound best with this pedal, and this probably exists and I just am not aware, because this isn't mine, this is borrowed from a friend and it's very generous of him to let me borrow a high-end piece. They could probably just take like the gain channel and put that in pedal form and that would sound perfect. Like that would be my preference, almost like a BEOD kind of thing, like just a single channel, and I could be dumb and that thing could exist. But without all the extra mod switches, because I really felt like the EQ had a wide enough sweep. That's all I needed to get darker and brighter. I also felt like, even though it would have been a little bit overkill, it's very tight and modern, I felt like the bass control was still pretty tight sounding, even with all the different switch settings. While it does sound good, there was a couple times it made me wish I had more low end, because even cranking it to the extreme, it really didn't add much between like 6 and 10 on the bass knob, which is fine because it's very tight sounding. I did like how it took the overdrive pedal, my Chris Ray Preamp FX Elgato, which I used for boosting. Now that has a little more gain to it than your typical tube screamer. It's a very cool pedal. I love everything that Chris Ray Preamp FX makes. All in all, the KSR Ceres is quite good, especially in conjunction with a bigger rig. I think you would get a lot of use out of it. I wish, for the sake of this video, I had a high gain amp that I was running that into. I would be really curious to see what a high gain channel with those preamps into it would sound like more saturation into a really good tube distortion. Unfortunately, all I have is what I have, and it only goes up to crunch, and I I feel like the strong suit of the Origin is the cleaner sounds. And like I said, I did not run into the effects loop. After plugging it in and testing it, I felt like this brighter, cleaner sound was a little better in my opinion, and I really enjoyed it. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I had a good time making it. It was cool getting my hands on a really high-end piece that I've been looking forward to trying. I may do an additional video or two on this, just with some more tones, maybe in a mix or something. I don't know how long I have to borrow it, so I might only have it for tonight. And so I just kind of worked through the video and did it quickly. It is really interesting, the trend of rigs becoming more and more floor-based or more preamp-based and analog-based. I like that it's an analog pedal that's high-end. But for how expensive it is, I would get 99% of what I would get from that pedal for my rig. You could cut it down to like a third of what it is, just like the straight 5-knob gain channel and a bypass, like a full bypass. I would use that more than the full-on 3 channels, but I could see how it has application for some people. Anyway, I hope you like my take on this. Obviously, I didn't put out the money for this, so and while it is a high-end piece, those are some minor cons. I think it is worth owning. I think KSR probably makes really fantastic sounding amps. I've never played one, so I couldn't tell you otherwise, but my guess is they are very tight, modern, and have a nice saturation to them. The gain channel was really quite good. Yeah, I had a fun time with it. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like and subscribe if you haven't, and yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.